Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well. My video starts with a few clips of what you can expect to see in this video. So, washing, sorting, clearing, tidying, getting rid of things. So lots of things going on in this video. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your comments, your likes, your support. And I wanted to start to say how many subscribers I've now got. So 2,352. So thank you so much to everybody that's taken time to subscribe to my channel. I cannot believe that I've got, 2,350 subscribers. It's incredible. I also just wanted to give you an update as to where my subscribers are from, because we like talking about this here on this channel. If you haven't already shared with me where you're from, I'd love to know. So United Kingdom 33%, United States 16%, so it's changed a little bit from before. And then there's a sudden big change with other European countries and Canada, Australia and further afield. So we've got Germany 1.9, Australia 1.8, Canada 1.6, and then it goes really low. So 0.4% Ireland, France 0.2, India 0.2. Now I do not remember having India listed before. So if you're watching from India, we'd love to hear from you. Italy 0.2 and Netherlands 0.2. So thank you so much for being here. So my first clip shows me in the garden. You can see it's beautiful blue skies here. This is at this sort of stage where everybody in England, and you'll have to tell me whether it's the same in Scotland, Wales and Ireland, so I don't want to talk for the rest of the United Kingdom, but certainly up and down the length and breadth of England, this is at this stage where everybody starts complaining about the weather. So, everyone was complaining about it being raining and winter-like for so long. Now, everybody that you speak to, apart from me and a few other people, everybody starts saying, I can't cope with this weather. It's too hot. I don't like it like this. As many of you know, weather is a massive discussion piece in England, and again, I'm not sure whether it is the rest of the United Kingdom. It's not a stereotype. We do love talking about the weather. So if, for instance, I'm standing at a bus stop and it's particularly hot or rainy or snowing or whatever the weather is doing, I will talk to a stranger about what the weather is up to. It's a good conversation starter, that is. So yeah, lots of people are now complaining about the heat. I do love the sunny weather, so it doesn't bother me. I like the sun, I enjoy being outside, so I'm happy with that. But what we did, because it was really hot, is we went into the shed, and you've seen what a nightmare the shed is. And my husband couldn't remember where the paddling pool was put, and I was quite certain that he had deflated it, cleaned it all up, and put it in the shed. And I was right. So I got it out, we pumped it up, my husband also helped, we filled it with water, and me and my daughter had a bit of a paddle. It was freezing cold, but certainly cooled us down. The only thing is a bit of a disappointment. Can you believe that we bought this last year and it deflates? So it was absolutely fine for the afternoon, but by the sort of early evening and then by the following morning, it was completely flopped over one side. Both the panels, the top and the bottom section, have obviously got a slow puncture. So it's disappointing. And if you think, like my turtle that I had on holiday, my inflatable turtle, I've had that for about 35 years. I'm going to touch wood at this point because I love that turtle. And it still inflates and works as good as what it did on the day. It was a very good quality one, as I told you the story about. But this was meant to be a good quality one and has currently lasted, well, not very long. So when I needed to use it the day after, I then had to re-inflate it, which wasn't great. So I feel a bit like a broken record when I tell you all that it's been busy, but it has been really busy. So as you know, it got back on Tuesday, had Wednesday off, then worked Thursday, Friday. So my time to sort out all the bags and everything from holiday was very limited. I'm so thankful to myself that I did all the washing. I hardly had any washing to do, which is really good. But it's just all the bags and everything that I've been trying to do. And then I embarked on my stationery sort out, didn't I, in my last video? And I don't regret that, but I'm not sure whether I should have focused on that before some other areas. So maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. I keep looking at that area as I walk past it and feel very pleased at how tidy and clean and sorted and clear it looks. But given everything else in the house, I'm not sure whether it was a good use of my time. And it did take a long time. Many of you said, oh, why did you go through? Why did you sort? Why didn't you just give everything away? Of course, I could have done that. I could have just emptied all the writing implements and all the stationery items into a bag and just given them away. But the problem is we use them. We do use them. And some of the pens are, really good quality pens. So I still have got a little bit more to do with that. I just wonder whether I would have been better focusing on another room. Someone did make me think, because they asked a question, which room do you think is the closest to being decluttered? And I thought, I can't really answer that. And you all tell me, because you're very honest and you're really helpful with your feedback. Am I flitting about too much? Do I actually need to focus more on one room? See, my theory originally was do layer 1 of sorting on a particular cabinet and then later revisit that. But I wonder whether I'm flitting about the house too much. What do you all think? Please tell me in the comments what you think about that. So on this part of the video, you can see that I'm getting some beans for dinner. So my daughter requested roast dinner on Sunday because we'd not had a roast dinner for so long, and it's nice being home that we'd have a typical kind of English meal. So we had roast lamb. It wasn't the best roast dinner that I've ever had, but I didn't do it, so I didn't complain. The vegetables were absolutely delicious, and it was really nice to have vegetables that we hadn't had for so long. And lovely to have beans fresh from the garden. You can see my massive piles of washing. So some of this washing, a lot of this washing actually, so 2 loads of the washing is from before we went on holiday. And then there's some bits that I did when we got back. Not much, thankfully. But we do have a lot to sort out. I've been reflecting on my daughter's jobs, and I know I've talked to you all about this before, and you've shared with me your views on chores and jobs that she could potentially do. But I am a bit stuck with this. I mean, I've encouraged her just to do some of the basics. So, take your own plates through, take your own dishes through. That should just be standard, shouldn't it? And she is a busy girl, as you know. But she can't do the washing or wiping up, which is what I would have done about her age. I would have done the wiping up because she's really not tall enough. I suppose she could stand on a step up, but it's not going to be easy to do that. Then I gave her the job, didn't I, of taking the washing up and splitting that into 3 piles. But just moving all the washing was making her really, really wheezy. So that then didn't seem a very good idea. And then I need to help her do some more work in her bedroom in order to kind of get on top of that. She is still talking about wanting a new carpet and decorating, which I'm happy to do, but once we've cleared it out more. So just trying to think of jobs that she could do which aren't going to irritate her. And until I get more out of the house, then maybe then I'll also have less dust in the house, because I think dust settles on things, doesn't it? If you've got fewer things, you're going to potentially have less dust. And we do have the extractor, which removes dust and purifies the air, which is a real help. I'm not sure whether the wooden floors, you think the wooden floors are better for dust allergy, but then every time you then sweep them up, sweep dust up, it all gets into the air. So I'm not sure what job I can do. She can't sweep the floor and clear up the dust because that would be irritating her. I thought about giving her a job outside, but then she's going to be affected by a grass and pollen allergy. I'm not sure. So you can see I just wanted to clean up this area. Her music stand had been sitting there, and just over the last few weeks the dust had settled in that area. I've got all that washing that needs to be taken up, and what I'm doing much more and I'm getting better at is asking for help from my husband. So I've been, although I didn't used to want to ask him because I used to feel like, why doesn't he just see it? Now I say to him, oh, can you take that washing up and put it into 3 piles, please? Or can you put away your, items from the haul or whatever? So I just accept that we see different things. So he's not so aware of the things in the house that I am. That seems to be working well. And then you can see the area where I was finishing off in the dining room. So I had that puzzle, didn't I, that all the bits fell out. I have got these pieces of puzzle in the house, and I find it very frustrating that I'm missing a couple of pieces. I know that they're in the house. So I'm going to put the book in a safe place where I'll remember where the book is. And then when I find the puzzle pieces, I'll be able to put them in the book. Because I can't give the book to a charity. We can't use the book because the puzzle pieces aren't there. So it's a bit frustrating. I don't want to get rid of something and then you then find the 2 puzzle pieces which are missing. But you can see they're in the corner, so all that area was cleaned out. I've got my boxes, which are looking nice and tidy. And then the wicker basket then needs some more work. So the wicker basket should be for my daughter's books when she goes back to school, but it's got a few other bits, odds and ends at the moment. So we need to look at that. So I felt really pleased with the work that I did here. And as I said, it did take quite a long time. So Thursday, like I said, I worked. Friday, I did a long day. My daughter and my husband went out on Friday for the day together. Her dad, my husband, has a short day on Friday, so he just did a couple of hours in the morning. While he was working, my daughter went and did some craft with Grandma, which she absolutely loves. And then she came back just before lunchtime, and they went up the city together. And they absolutely love that time together. And they've had that on Fridays for like a long time. So before she went to school, he had the shorter day and compressed his hours Monday to Thursday. And I think it's really special. Often they'll go swimming, but I think it's really special to have that time together. I did laugh because I'd said that on a Friday coming up, I'm on holiday from work. And she sort of like looked and was like, oh, what about my time with Daddy? Which I was like, oh, I thought we'd spend some time, the 3 of us. But actually, I think it's really nice. My dad did really long hours in sales. And he also worked Saturday mornings. And I can remember being quite young and we would wait for him to come back on a Saturday. And then it would get later and later and later. And then my mum would say, right, come on, let's go out. And so often he worked like almost a full day on a Saturday. So, he didn't get that time that he would have liked with me and my sister, which I think was why when my daughter was very young, my dad spent quite a lot of time with her, which I thought was really important, and value that time for her granddad and me to spend that time with my dad, as you all know. So then we had sort of busy weekend. Saturday we did things around the house. Sunday we went to church, and then we had roast dinner in the garden out on the patio, which was nice. And we did some more bits around the house and just spent time together. Monday, me and my daughter went into Norwich, and I do show you a couple of clips where we went around the city. Didn't really get that much, just had a look, which is what she really enjoys doing. Got ready and had a little look at school shoes to see what options there were. I also went into that great shop that's got all those storage solutions. I was looking for a nice wicker basket, which had got a lid. So I don't want everyone to see all the stuff that I've got in the basket, but I couldn't find one on this occasion. And then Tuesday, I was then working. So I worked all morning. My husband very kindly let me have a bit of a lie-in, but then I woke up and I'd got about 30 minutes before my first call, and my laptop was on 4%. So I had the call that didn't charge properly, that ran out of charge, and the call cut off, which was a bit of a nightmare and a bit of a stress to say the least. So I was then running around trying to get the call back on my phone. I removed everything when I was on holiday, didn't I? So I had to then reinstall everything. Then I got it back on the laptop. It was a bit of a hassle to say the least. But my daughter had a lovely time this morning at Grandma's. She's been doing some knitting and she's made like a little figure. It's really lovely how they're doing that together. And my mum also did lunch for my daughter. And then we all went out together to a splash pad. Me and my mum also wore our swimming suits, It's like this sort of like a big area where water jets fire out through the air, and the children splash and play. And I knew my daughter would want me to have a look, and I thought if I just wear shorts and a t-shirt, I'm probably going to get soaked. So I wore my swimming suit, and my mum did as well. And so that was really nice. That was a surprise for my daughter. We didn't tell her, just in case we got there and it was like closed for servicing or it was too busy. So you can see me in the garden watering all my plants with a hose pipe, just because everything's got really, really dry. So I want to make sure I don't lose too many plants in this weather. So I kind of got a bit to do in the garden, and I will do an upload at some point with my gardening channel. But yeah, just going around making sure that my pots are completely full. I also need to keep an eye on my sister. So my sister has gone on holiday and I'm on rabbit duty again. So those of you that have remembered my posts from quite some time will remember that I do look after her rabbit. So I've got quite a few mornings and evenings where I need to make sure the rabbit is okay, is fed, watered. He's got various different routines with different foods that he eats at different times of the day. He's got a water bottle and a water bowl, etc., etc. So there's different things that I've got to do with that. So what I'm now going to do is go through some of your comments. Now, you know that I love reading through your comments. I feel so honoured that the time that you take to post your ideas and suggestions in comments, I do really appreciate them. They're just lovely to read through, and sometimes I'll be like really busy trying to finish off something at work, and my phone pings and I look at my phone and it's a lovely message from one of you. I should also just say that a couple of your comments came through when I was feeling, and I think all of us feel like this at some times, don't we, that I wasn't doing anything to the best of my ability. So I'm not working to the best of my ability because I've got so much on. I'm not managing the house to the best of my ability. I'm not doing my chores to the best of ability. I'm not tidying and cleaning to the best of my ability. And I said that to my husband, and he said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. You do a fantastic job, don't worry." It just sometimes feels really hard when you feel like you need to be doing three things at once. I take the time off on holiday to be with my daughter. That is, as you all know, my priority. But then when you're going out somewhere, you can't then do some of the things at home. You can't, do some of the paperwork, etc. that I need to do. So, for example, some of the work in my business, I've got some formal documents that need to be written. And when I said to you about getting better at asking my husband to do things, with the accounts, they needed to be finished off. I didn't manage to get them done before we went away on holiday. They needed to be finished off. So I said to my husband, "Look, I'm sitting here working and I can't do the accounts at the same time. You're relaxing or playing on your phone or watching TV. Please, can you finish off the accounts?" And to begin with, he was like, "Well, I don't know what you do. I don't know where the information is. I don't know where the accounts are." But then I showed him and he then finished it off. So that was a massive weight lifted. And it's the same as these formal documents I need to do. I do all the paperwork for the business. So obviously the business is in both of our names. But I said to him, "Look, we need to create these documents. They're formal documents that we need to create legally. Are you able to do it?" And he's out tonight. He doesn't go out very often, but he is out tonight. And he actually said to me, "Oh, I'll be back at about 10 and I'll do it then." And I was like, "Oh, no, don't do it at 10, but can we work on them together on Wednesday?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So again, that's the weight lifted, isn't it? When somebody else is helping like that. And I think, yeah, sometimes it's just about asking and reaching out. So Pam on my comments said, "Hi Emma, you worked wonders on the haul. It's great to see you fired up with enthusiasm. A holiday will do that to you, I think. You suddenly see all the stuff you've got to do and don't really need. Happens to me still. You're right too that it's ongoing, ever-increasing journey to declutter and vastly reduce your inventory. My granddaughter is having to be sedated next month to have several of her second teeth out. Oh no, Pam. How horrible for her and for your family. That would make me feel very stressed. Her enamel on all of her teeth is very, very poor. but she was very ill at birth and was immediately put on intravenous antibiotics for the first 7 days of her life. Then 8 to 9 months later, she developed sepsis and again on antibiotics for almost 3 weeks. The dentist thinks those events have a lot to do with it. Poor little girlie. How awful. That is, I mean, I feel with certain I'm not a lover, what I would say, is of medication when it's not needed. You know, sometimes people take medication, it isn't needed, but in certain situations, you can't get away from it, can you? Antibiotics saves lives, it makes people better, so you can't get away from that. Sadly, the situation with my daughter's antibiotics is that they were not required. And my experience is that doctors have prescribed medication for her on many occasions, which was wrong. And other doctors have said, you shouldn't have been prescribed this, you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't be using this. So obviously in your situation, or your granddaughter, Pam, there's nothing that could be done there, is there? There really isn't anything that could be done. But for me, I feel very disappointed with, you know, some of the things that we've gone through, really, as a family. There seems to be more and more problems with children with their teeth, and often on the news, it seems to be portrayed, oh, as all these children having sugar and not cleaning the teeth properly. And there really is much more to that, in my view. Well, I hope that all goes well. That's next month, so you'll have to let us know how. Hopefully, she'll have that removed and everything will be all easy and okay. And better that, isn't it, than having any pain from teeth? That's the worst thing. Our video games historian says, we have been doing car boots and now my front room is crammed with stuff people have donated. We'll do car boots until we get fed up. I'll then donate to try to keep stuff from landfill. Well done. That's great. Had cleared it out of my dad's things, but now back to square one. Still, we are making money. And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, car boot sales, I used to love doing car boot sales every so often and attending car boot sales. When we were newly married, we'd get up really early. That was in the days they didn't have any late car boot sales. We'd get up really early. We'd go to a car boot sale and then we'd come home, go back to bed. And I'd then wake up like at 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then video games historian says, well done on your clearing. Thank you very much for that comment. Long may your car boot sales be successful until you've got no items left in the house and the house is clear. I always think it's hard to know when to stop doing car boots. I can remember that there was a couple that I did and really all the best things and the things that people wanted to buy had already been sold. So it's kind of just trying to sell the things that were left, and I should have just given them to a charity shop. And I also find that some people just want something for nothing. Like you look at something and you say 50p and you think, well, it's worth a fiver, and you sell that for 50p and they say, I'll give you 10 pence. And I was like, oh my goodness. Next comment, Karen, phenomenal amount of stationery. Amazed how many memories you have of pencils from your youth. Very patient sorting through so much stuff. I was a little disappointed that after all your sorting, you dumped all the writing implements into one big box. I wrap each type in elastic bands. That's a good idea, Karen. Do you know, I was thinking to myself, I've got a couple of smaller containers, you know, the ones that I was using for my mealworms and beetles. And I was thinking, I could put my nice writing pens in those and then my nice pencils in another one. But then I thought, if I do that, they're then not going to fit in the box. But you make a very good point. I didn't even think about elastic bands. I know that sounds really basic. I just didn't think of it. But what a good idea. I just couldn't think of a solution at the time. You're right, because now it's all dumped in one place, and still when I go to that box, I'm going to have a rummage to find a pencil. So I will change that. So thank you for writing that on my post. I will change that. Joanne says, Emma, you are working so smart now. Just think you won't have to pick up those decluttered pens, etc. ever again. And you're absolutely correct. Keep only what makes you joyful. Only keep things that you will use. The more you get rid of things, the easier your house will be to keep tidy. And do you know, I never understood that until you all told me that. I never understood that it was part of the battle. It was a part of the battle because I had too much stuff. And if you've got less stuff, it's easier to be tidy. Take pictures of things if you feel the pull to keep them because of a memory, then donate them to someone that will use them. The thing that I find hard about that is if I take a photograph of something and then give it away, I'm later looking at my phone and see the photograph, and the tug that I get is, I wish I hadn't given that away. And I've also given like some clothes of my daughter's to a friend, and then she kept on sending me photographs of her daughter wearing my daughter's dresses. Now, she was doing that to, of course, be very kind and thinking that I would be pleased. But instead, I looked at the pictures and thought, oh, my little girl wore them. I wish I'd kept those dresses. So it's really hard. I mean, sometimes what I've done is I put things in a bag. I don't ever want to see them again. I will forget about them, give them to the charity shop, done. And then I'm not reminded about them. I also saw a couple of pictures on Facebook where someone had posted their pictures of their child and they had my daughter's clothes on that I'd given them, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd not given that away. I know it sounds silly, doesn't it? It really does. The less time you spend looking for things or having to clean up, the more time you can spend making more memories with your daughter and husband. That's so true, Joanne. Thank you ever so much for your comment. And she's ended saying that's the best gift. Yeah, free time. Absolutely. So the next comment that I wanted to go through, Brooke says she agreed about the Olympics, so she didn't appreciate certain parts of the Olympics, but agreed with my husband that you're supporting the athletes. And it was so wonderful, wasn't it, to see some people just, giving their all. I really felt for one of our swimmers, synchronised swimmers. There was a clip that did the rounds on social media where she was talking to her dad about it. She got one medal, but she missed out on another, and that really made me cry. They really put their heart and soul into it, and to watch them at the height of their career is really something special. And of course, it's now, next step is gone to America, hasn't it? So that'll be exciting for 4 years' time. Brooke says, so happy you're making sure your daughter knows how to use an analog clock. As a former teacher, this skill and counting back change are two things I worked with my students on because young people struggle with them. Oh, when you say counting back change, do you mean like when you're working out how much change you should get? If you do mean that, I absolutely agree with you, because I think that a lot of people, they give the money over and young people are not taught to check the change they're given. That was interesting, actually, because we went into Primark and when we were going around the shops on Monday, and what I was looking for was a bag that my daughter can use for her medicine. It said £6 on the label, and she came back and she said to me, Mummy, they charged me £7 and they gave me, this amount of change. And I said, well done for noticing it. And then we went straight up and I showed and explained to her about speaking to the man to get it for the price on the tag. I think that's really important, so that you set that example, but also the fact that she checked the change to make sure it was right. So then Brooke also said, I had to laugh when you mentioned which stores your daughter wanted to visit, since you're purging so many of these things. I know, but I love new stationery as well. The good thing is about my daughter and about me, I stopped really trying to spend money about 2 years ago when we needed to look at our finances in a different way. So I just stopped buying things. Up until that point, I thought I was very, very careful with my money, and I thought I never wasted money. And I don't think I was wasteful, but I did buy things that I didn't really need. And like I've said to you before, I'd go into a garden centre and I'd think, oh yeah, I'll have those seeds and I'll have this soil and I'll have this something. And suddenly you've spent £30. So I just went back to being a bit more like when I was a student, like, taking pleasure in looking at things and sort of planning the garden and thinking what seeds I can use from the years before, that sort of thing. So we did look at a lot of stationery on Monday, but she didn't buy any. So she loves the Lagami stationery. So we looked at all the Lagami stationery. She'd already been in there on Friday and looked at it with her dad. So we looked at it and didn't purchase any. But the bag from Primark, I am very pleased with. So I'm trying to get something which is fashionable, suitable, practical for her medication. At the moment, her medication goes in her backpack, her school bag, and it's heavy and it's big and it's clumsy. And what happens is, and I hadn't really realised until sort of 3/4 of the way through the year, for example, the children aren't allowed their bags in the hall when they have lunch, which is fair enough because, you know, the bags would get everywhere, probably get food on them. But because of my daughter's allergy, she has to take her bag in there. So she's got this massive great bag with all her books she has to carry around all day. So I thought if we get a small little like rucksack and that fits into the main bag, when she has lunch, when she's got sport fixtures, or when she's, you know, doesn't need to carry her big heavy bag, she can just pull out a little black rucksack. And you know, Tuesday morning, so this morning, she was so excited about getting that and sorting that. I've put the liquid that she needs to carry around. I want to put in small containers, and I got those little shampoo type bottles that you take, the travel ones. And I was really pleased to put them all in their bottles, 5ml, 5ml, 10ml, 10ml. And then just as I was about to do it, I thought, oh, I bet these aren't suitable for food. They're not food and drink safe. And I mentioned to my husband about it, and he said, no, they're not. I bet they're not suitable. We can't use them. And then I checked the small print and it said no. So sadly, I've got to go back to Primark and take them back. I'm going to look on Amazon to see whether I can get some food safe ones. It's a bit frustrating because the pharmacist has them but won't give them to me and won't sell them to me, which is a bit of a shame. I only want like 2 5ml and 2 10ml, but there you go. M Faircloth. So Emma has put a lovely post on here. Really, really very kind, Emma, that you've taken the time. A number of you so regularly comment on my channel. So kind. I really feel like I should apologise to you all about the state of my kitchen. Honestly, it's such a state. And it's got so that when I'm then trying to do dinner, I have to clear everything and sort everything. So I feel like I've let you all down a bit because the kitchen's getting out of hands. But I suppose a bit each day. The way that I look at it, I can't be sorting all the stationery at the same time as doing the kitchen, can I? I can't be doing the kitchen when I'm working in the evening and during the day, or going to the splash pad with my daughter. So it's just one of those things, and I will get back on track with it. Yeah, so Emma's post. So Emma's put, this video was amazing. Oh, thank you. You were hilarious to me. I laughed so hard listening to your hike up and down the mountains. You are a beautiful soul. Oh man, I love that you send postcards. I last sent one from Robin, Ireland with my dad to my gran in the UK. Oh, thanks for the reminder of that memory you brought back to me. Where was your gran in the UK? I'm interested in whereabouts she was. I'm going to start sending myself postcards when I travel more. I love that idea. Yeah, I think that's quite nice. I thought we could get a little book. Oh no, that sounds like I'm going to buy something. I could get a book that I've already got in my big box and I could turn it into a postcard book, couldn't I? You might see the domino effect in your house, but all I can see is the butterfly effect. You and your home have come so far together and it's only getting better and better. I'm so proud of you for leading by example with your daughter and involving her in the process, equipping her with practical skills for life. Oh, thank you for that. She says, gorgeous French clock. It's stunning. And I didn't consider children not being exposed to analogue clocks anymore. That blew my mind. I know, Emma. I was so surprised when they said that these 16 and 18, so the 16 when they're doing their GCSEs and 18 when they're doing their A-levels, and that they couldn't read an analogue clock. So there was no point saying to them that the exam finished at 10:30 because they wouldn't know what that looked like on the clock. That surprised me. It really did. Emma goes on to say, I'm proud of your husband for helping you focus on the right area at the right time. The hallway is looking amazing. First thoughts, no more car seats. I know. It's so nice having that space there. I have still got my bag for the charity shop though, and then of course my pencils that I'm getting rid of. But they're all the things on the way out, and they won't take as long as the car seats to get rid of. You're doing a great job and injected with a boost of energy to get rid, as your daughter says. I love that you've turned the next chapter. A change in season is brewing. You've unlocked a new level. Oh, thank you. Are we having a garden sale still? I'm trying to envision where you are storing all all the things to go on the sale, which may be adding to the overwhelmed feeling. Also, are we doing a last puppet show this summer and letting it go to start making the playroom more usable real estate? Okay, so a couple of things there. Yes, we are still doing the garden sale. All the things for said sale are in the old bedroom, piled up on chairs, under chairs, over chairs, all around chairs. So the pile is getting quite big. And I'm going to do the sale fairly soon. I'm going to take a photograph of my stall so you can all see it. In terms of the playroom, yes, we are going to have a last puppet show. Oh, it makes me feel a bit sad. Maybe we'll do a coffee shop from the puppets show as well, because it's kind of, you can turn it into a coffee shop. So we'll do that. The problem with that is there's not much space to get in there. So I need to move a whole load of things to then pull out the puppet show. But my daughter is ready and getting ready to get rid of that. So she's ready, I'm ready. Emma said she loved the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Now, Emma gives a different perspective on this, and I really appreciated this. So she said, I didn't catch it all, but I loved a lot of the artistry, costumes and choreography, a lot of which was performed in the pouring rain. The performance experience and professionalism shone for me. I grew up in the theatre, so do see the hours of work behind the final product. I also love history. I do think there's no one that can do pomp and ceremony like the English, but there's also no one who can do theatre like the French, albeit drawn out, so very French. I'm glad your husband gave you the perspective of the devil winning in the end, so very true. But for me, it was art. I love that. I think that's really, Emma goes on to talk about, the portrayal of Marie Antoinette, and I really appreciated this different perspective. Also, she likes Tchaikovsky, which is one of me and my daughter's favourites. So many pieces that I love. And then the last bit that Emma said is, love being part of your journey and your approach to life. You do make me feel quite like you, especially when it comes to dealing with family, work and the outside world of wonderful personalities, and you inspire to approach or see things differently sometimes. Thank you for saying that. And it's funny that I've just read that bit when actually that's what you did with the views on the Olympics, to look at things in a different perspective. I'm glad you had a brilliant holiday and you're back home safe and sound. And then M. Fairclough ends by saying, P.S. Barbara has been on my mind too. So for those of you that are aware, Barbara used to follow comments, my channel. She'd comment on like every post. She also won my first giveaway along with Andrea. So Barbara's in Ireland and we've not heard from her now for a long time. So what I'm going to do is, if I don't hear anything by the end of this week, I'm going to send a note to her. So I have her address because of the giveaway. So I'm going to double check the address and I'm going to reach out to her and just check that she's okay. Next comment there. So I got a comment also from Kerry about the towel on the line on one of my videos. And she's actually said that she has got the same towel. I don't know, Kerry Sears, if you can remember where that towel came from, because I'd actually really like to know. Me and my husband and daughter were talking about that towel. I'm pretty certain that I had two, and they went together and they sort of like would contrast each other, and I had one and then my husband had one, and then my daughter's kind of now taken on using it, but I can't remember where it was from. But Kerry said that it was the towel that she used every single Sunday when she went swimming. So what a coincidence. And then my last comment for today was from Brooke. So Brooke said, just a reminder, you were going to tell us why you couldn't meet up with your daughter's Italian teacher while you were in her country. It's a bit complicated, Brooke, and actually I'm not entirely certain. So this lady, we were given her details from someone that we met twice, I think. So they're Italian couple, married couple, a little bit older than us, with a child that's a little bit younger than us. And we met up with them a couple of times and met them in the park because I wanted my daughter to practice her Italian. In reality, the daughter didn't speak such good Italian as my daughter. And actually, she kept talking. She was very shy of speaking in Italian and she kept talking to my daughter in English. So it didn't really work. But then they were going on holiday and they said, oh, if you want someone else to practice your English, you could have lessons with this lady. And she gave me the details. And ever since then, every sort of 6 weeks or so, we have this lesson online. Now, it costs €10 for an hour, but I've still not paid. And every time I say about this, oh, she says, don't worry, don't worry. And then I said, oh, well, we're actually coming to Italy and we're going to be really close to you and I can pay. And she said, don't worry, don't worry. So anyway, it got closer to the date and I messaged her to say, these are the dates we're coming. And she was like, okay, right, lovely. You might not have time to see me, she said. And I said, oh, well, we're coming for quite some time. And she said, oh, well, I'm not in Rome. I'm a little bit outside of Rome. And I said, well, that's not a problem because we'll leave Rome and we'll head towards Sulmona and to Pompeii, and we'll go that way. So she said, okay, great. And then 2 days before we were due to go leave to go to Pompeii, I messaged her and she said, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to come on a detour. That's fine. Don't worry. You don't want to spend your holiday coming to see me. So it was all a bit strange. So I don't know whether she felt like we were going out of our way, but we were all really keen to meet her. And also I was really keen to pay her because to pay via the bank accounts is very complicated and probably would cost us both. So I just thought, oh, we'll meet her face to face. And so she messaged and said, I hope you have a really lovely holiday. And that was it. And the funny thing was, so Brooke reminded me to tell you all what happens. But she's messaged me on WhatsApp because she said, have a nice holiday. And I said, thanks. I wouldn't say I just felt a bit disappointed. I wouldn't say that I felt offended. I felt a bit disappointed about it all and a bit sort of unsure. I mean, it could be that she didn't want, she's only seen my daughter on WhatsApp. She doesn't really know me or my husband. So perhaps she didn't want to feel like she had to invite us into her home. Maybe she feels like she doesn't want people to see her home. I really don't know. But the funny thing was, she actually messaged me tonight, just after Brooke had posted that, saying, did you have a lovely time in Italy? Did your daughter enjoy herself? I hope to speak to you soon. So it's all a bit strange. The thing with me is I don't like just taking. I just don't like that if she's offering a service and she's given her time to my daughter and maybe, she's hoping to train as a teacher or international teacher. I don't know. But I don't like not paying. I'm the sort of person that if I owe someone 20p, I'll make a point of giving it to them. And I won't, if someone buys me a hot chocolate, then I will never forget that and make sure I'm first to buy their drink next time. So it was a bit of a shame, that was. So this is a long video. So if you've got this far, then thank you so much for watching. And I'm interested in a couple of your comments where we talked about a couple of different areas in terms of your advice about chores for my daughter and a couple of other things that we touched on. But thank you for joining me on the journey. Thank you for spurring me on and getting me to keep on with this. I do, because I'm making content and we're talking about it and I'm building my channel, that forces me to do some of these things, to look and think, right, I need to make sure that I do sort out some of the table. The table's getting into a state. I need to do some more in the kitchen. So this is really helping me. So thank you very much for all your comments, your likes, your ideas, your suggestions. It's super helpful. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.